Elena pressed her trembling fingers against the cold window pane. Outside, rain lashed the city, and inside, silence weighed heavily. She had come to London seeking escape, but found instead a secret buried deep in her own past. Now, as thunder rolled across the night sky, she realized that the only way forward was to confront the truth and to tell it in English. Her pulse thundered in time with each lightning flash. Behind her, the old journal lay open on the desk, its pages yellowed with age and inked in a neat, foreign hand she barely remembered. At once familiar and alien, the words called to her, daring her to read, to write, to speak them aloud. This diary held more than memories. It held the key to mastering the language she both feared and longed for. If she could tell her own story in English, she could reclaim what was lost, her voice, her identity, her future. But danger lurked. Someone was watching. For every sentence she translated, every phrase she spoke into her recorder, she risked awakening forces that wanted the past to stay hidden. Tonight, as the storm raged, Elena would choose between silence and survival. Chapter 1. The Discovery. When Elena first found the journal in a dusty trunk at her late grandmother's cottage, she thought it was merely an heirloom. The cover was untitled, no name, no date. Inside, neat cursive entries spanned decades, chronicling a life half-lived under war's shadow. But the text was in English, a language her grandmother barely spoke. Learning Tip 1. Journaling. Start your own English journal. Write about ordinary days, what you ate, who you met, how you felt. Even a few sentences every morning build the habit of thinking in English. Elena opened the book to a page marked with a pressed flower. Her heart skipped. The entry described a night much like this one, a thunderstorm, a whispered confession, a promise to one day speak the truth. She realized, to understand this story, she'd need to translate each sentence, phrase by phrase, then rewrite it in her own words. As she translated the first paragraph, her lips mouthed unfamiliar sounds. She stumbled over betrayal, confession, redemption. Yet, with a dictionary and a notebook, she began writing definitions in the margin, crafting example sentences, repeating them aloud. Learning Tip 2. Active translation. Don't just passively read. Translate a short passage, look up each word, then retell it in your own English sentences. This deepens vocabulary and reinforces grammar structures. Suddenly, a knock at the door startled her. Who could be out on such a stormy night? Fear and excitement tangled in her chest. She clutched the journal, then moved to the peephole. Silence. She opened the door and found only a black envelope on the welcome mat. Chapter 2. The envelope. Inside the envelope was a single sheet of thick paper, written in the same neat hand as the journal. Do not trust the words you read. Write your own. Speak them before it's too late. Elena's breath caught. A chill ran down her spine. This was no random message, it was a challenge. She held the note against her heart and felt both dread and determination. The only way to decode her grandmother's secrets was to share her own story in English. Learning Tip 3. Self-narration. Record yourself speaking. Use your phone's voice memo app. Tell a short story. Today's weather, a walk in the park, your favorite childhood memory. Then listen back. Notice pronunciation and intonation. Repeat to improve clarity. She switched on her recorder. My name is Elena. I came to London to learn English. I found my grandmother's journal. Her voice shook. She stopped and replayed it. The playback sounded awkward, too fast, too soft. She tried again, slowing down, enunciating each word. With each take, she grew more confident. She noted down recurring mispronunciations. Journal sounded like journal, but she wanted journal. She practiced tongue twisters. Red leather, yellow leather. She sells seashells. Outside, the rain intensified. The wind howled. Every flash of lightning lit the room like a camera. Elena stamped out the growing fear. She pressed record again. Chapter 3. Unveiling the Past. Day by day, Elena translated another entry from the journal. Each night, by candlelight, she summarized it in her English notebook. April 12th, 1942. Grandmother hid a wounded soldier under the floorboards. Learning tip 4. Summarizing. After reading a text, write a one-paragraph summary in English. This practices paraphrasing and tests comprehension. As the story unfolded, so did suspense. A clandestine meeting in a forest, stolen letters, a coded map. Elena's heart pounded with each revelation and with the realization that these entries mentioned people still alive. She sketched a family tree in English. Great Aunt Rosa. Helped soldiers, Uncle Manuel. Disappeared. Translating proper nouns was simple, but describing emotions, desperate, haunted, hopeful, required nuance. She built a personal vocabulary list, writing each new adjective in a colored tab. Desperate, feeling that situation is impossible. Haunted, constantly reminded by painful memories. Hopeful, expecting good things. She used each adjective in 3 self-composed sentences. Learning tip 5. The vocabulary notebook. Keep a dedicated notebook. For each new word, write definition, part of speech, and 3 original example sentences. By week's end, Elena could narrate the journal entries in her own words, aloud and in writing. She felt a surge of pride. In English, she was reconstructing her grandmother's legacy. But the suspense deepened. A final entry warned of betrayal within blood. Who did it refer to? And why had someone whispered for Elena to write your own story? Chapter 4. The Mysterious Stranger. One afternoon, a soft knock on her door brought Jack, a neighbor from the flat below. He held a battered envelope, the same stationery as the journal. I found this in my mailbox, he said, handing it to her. Addressed to you. Her hands shook as she slid it open. Inside, a single photograph, her grandmother standing beside a man Elena had never seen. On the back, one word, remember. Jack peered curiously. Who was that? Elena swallowed. I'm not sure, she lied. But in English, her voice was steady. She described the photograph, the question throbbing in her mind. Learning tip 6. Partner practice. Practice speaking English with a friend or language partner. Describe objects, Ask questions, role-play scenarios. Feedback from a partner boosts fluency and confidence. Jack nodded. If you want, I can help with translations. Relief flooded her. She invited him in. Together, they compared that photo with the journal's entries. Jack read aloud as Elena translated. They paused at a passage describing a hidden safe beneath the floor. Beneath the floor, he read. Under the wooden boards, Elena corrected gently. He scribbled. Beneath equals under, more formal. With Jack's help, Elena refined her phrasing. Rather than literal translations, they chose idiomatic expressions. She tiptoed across the creaking boards, sounded more vivid than she walked quietly on old wood. Learning Tip 7. Idioms and Expressions. Learning idioms makes your English sound natural. When you encounter one, write it down, find its meaning, then use it in your own sentences. By evening, they had pinpointed the location of the safe in the cottage's abandoned study. Elena's heart raced. She would break into her grandmother's private chamber in English, so to speak, by speaking English herself. Chapter 5. Into the Old Study. That night, Elena and Jack crept into the deserted study. She carried a flashlight and her English notebook. He held a small crowbar. Learning Tip 8. Storytelling Structure. When you tell a story, in writing or speaking, use a clear structure. Setting, characters, conflict, climax, resolution. It makes your narrative compelling and coherent. The door was locked. Elena whispered the plan in English. I'll try the key. If it doesn't fit, we use the crowbar. Her voice echoed. She tried the old key she found in the journal's trunk. It clicked. The door swung open with a groan. Inside, dust lay thick on furniture and cobwebs draped the windows. Among piles of manuscripts, a heavy wooden floor panel caught their eye. Jack pried it up. Beneath, a rusted metal box. Elena's breath caught. The box was sealed, but etched into the lid was a sentence in English. Only she who tells her own story may open me. Elena's blood turned to ice. To open the box, she needed to speak, in English, her personal narrative, aloud. Learning Tip 9. Speaking aloud. Practice key sentences aloud before critical speaking moments. Rehearse your pitch, presentation, or, even for exploring hidden treasures, your personal introduction. Confidence lies in repetition. She steadied her voice. My name is Elena Martinez. I came to London from Madrid. I learn English by telling my story. Jack watched in awe as she continued, forming each phrase deliberately. When she finished, the box clicked. The lid creaked open. Chapter 6. The Revelation. Inside the box lay an old locket, a faded photograph, and a letter sealed with red wax. Elena's fingers shook as she unfolded the letter, written in both Spanish and English. To my granddaughter Elena, you have learned the greatest lesson. Your own story is the best teacher. May you carry our legacy forward in every word you speak. Tears blurred her vision. She realized the thrill of suspense had been guiding her language journey all along. By confronting mystery, danger, and emotion, she'd absorbed vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and confidence. Learning Tip 10. Emotional Connection. Tie new language to emotions. Stories you care about, suspense, love, fear, make words and structures memorable. The locket clicked open, revealing a tiny portrait of a young couple, her grandmother, and a man whose face was now familiar, Jack. He was the son of the soldier her grandmother had saved. Jack swallowed. She told me about you. Never knew you'd find this. Elena's heart swelled. In English, she told him the entire story, how each page taught her a lesson in language, how each clue strengthened her voice. Speaking it aloud felt like closing a circle, like turning suspense into understanding. Chapter 7. Sharing the Story. Word spread among their language exchange group. One evening, Elena stood before a gathering of learners and teachers in a cozy cafe, the journal and locket on the table. She took a deep breath. "Good evening," she began, her accent clear and proud. "I'd like to share how I learned English from my own story. Learning tip 11, public speaking practice. Present in front of others whenever you can. Even a small audience builds poise. Use notes, but try to speak naturally rather than reading word for word." She narrated each chapter, the thunderstorm, the journal's first lines, the envelope's warning, the photograph, the secret safe, the revealing locket. As she spoke, she wove in explanations, how she used her vocabulary notebook, how she recorded and replayed her voice, how she translated passages and rewrote them in her own style. The audience leaned forward, captivated. When she reached the moment the box clicked open, someone gasped. Applause followed her final words, "Tell your own story and find your own English." A teacher approached afterwards. "Your story is compelling, and your English is beautiful," she said. "Could you write an article for our school magazine?" Elena smiled. She knew this was only the beginning. Chapter 8. Reflection and Next Steps. Back in her flat, Elena placed the locket on her desk beside her vocabulary notebook. She reflected on her journey, from fearful beginner to storyteller, from translating word by word to speaking with confidence. Learning tip 12, continuous practice. Language learning never ends. Keep writing, speaking, listening, and sharing. Set new goals. Join a drama group. Write short stories. Teach beginners what you've learned. She opened a fresh page in her journal, this time entirely in English. May 28th, 2025. Today I shared my story. Tomorrow I will write another. My journey continues. And with that, she closed the journal, turned off the lamp, and smiled. The storm had passed. In the quiet that followed, she found peace and the promise of countless new stories to tell in a language that was now, at last, her own. Epilogue. Your turn to tell. Elena's adventure shows that the most powerful way to learn English is through your story. Fear becomes motivation, mystery becomes lessons, and every emotion, joy, dread, love, cements new words in your mind. How to begin your journey. Find or start a journal, record real events. Translate and rewrite. Actively engage with texts. Speak aloud and record Hear Yourself Improve. Build a vocabulary notebook. Use words in your own sentences. Share with partners or groups. Gain feedback and confidence. Tie learning to emotion. Make every word memorable. Your story is waiting. Open your journal, press record, and speak your truth in English. Adventure, suspense, and self-discovery lie ahead, just beyond the next sentence you write.